Welcome to Biz Alchemy, a podcast about creating a new business paradigm by women, for women. I'm your alchemical host, Jacqueline Atkins, and I'm going to take you on an extraordinary adventure to create a business filled with ease, fun, spaciousness, and abundance. Hustle, be gone. Let's birth a new way. Welcome back, or I should say, welcome to a very, very wet Byron Shire. Where I live is currently experiencing torrential rain, flooding, and you might hear a little bit in the background as I'm recording. I suddenly went, I better record this quickly because I don't know what's going to happen to the power today. A couple of the towns close by to me are underwater, and so a lot of my friends are affected at the moment. So it's one of those days where I'm just a little bit all over the place. Fortunately, I am safe and dry at the moment. My landlord has an upstairs, so I can go up there if the creek just down below us decides to get too much higher. But one thing is for sure, I am recording this podcast with a very strong yin energy. The water is all around me. There is dampness in the air. It is conducive to my yin week in business, which I'm having this week. So many people ask me about my yin week. What does that mean? Why do I have it? How do I organize my business around it? So that's why I thought I'd make a podcast about that this week. And it just happens to be fully yin weather as I'm creating it. It's a couple of days before the new moon, and that's the balsamic time, which is when I always schedule my yin week. And that balsamic phase of the moon is a phase of stillness, of darkness, of going in. So this is very much the energy I'm bringing to this podcast episode. So are you ready to go within? To begin with, I'd like to talk about this, where I got this idea of having a yin week in business. I think the thing to understand here is almost everything I share. In fact, let me just go back. Let me backtrack a little bit. Last week, one of my beautiful VIP clients asked me at the end of her session about how I learned what I do in terms of reading businesses, reading the energy body of a business. And the answer is really simple. And I often say this jokingly, but I just say, I made it up. And what I mean by that is I didn't learn anything. I didn't do a course other than learning pranic healing, a form of energy healing, about 22 years ago. I've never learned anything. Everything I do comes through me. It's inspiration, it's guidance, it's following my intuition. And I've never been afraid of following my intuition. I will really just dive into things as stuff comes to me. And so I was saying to her, well, it just evolved. You know, I started doing the energy work, and a few years ago when I started my business, I was coaching, and then in that meditation, which I have talked about this before, in a mastermind I was in, I suddenly got the insight of why aren't I incorporating my energy work into my coaching? And so I started to do that, and eventually the energetic side, the energetic readings took over from the coaching. And then from that, I had the hit that actually a business has an energy body. Let me start reading that. And so I just started. So no one told me that's correct. Good on you. This is the way to do it, or anything like that. That I never got any sort of feedback. It was just inspiration, and I followed through. And so what happened as I started to read business energy bodies is that the businesses started to teach me. And I'm sure many of you who work with clients have this same experience where you learn from your clients. And when I read the energy body of my clients and of my clients' businesses, I am given insights. And sometimes these are really like, whoa, mind-blowing insights. And so much of what I teach about the business energy body has come from my experience of reading business energy bodies. That's how I know what the base chakra represents, or the the third eye chakra or whatever of a business. It's from what I see when I read business energy bodies. Again, I didn't get a textbook saying this is what the solar plexus chakra of a business represents. I've never seen it anywhere. So anything I share is simply what I've learned. It's my experience, and it's what's been shared with me at an energetic level. And what I love about this, it's exciting. It also means that there is continuous change because I'm constantly learning. And, if there's one thing that's pretty obvious about me, and in fact, another client commented on this last week as well, I do love change, and I will change quickly and easily, and I can adapt what I'm doing, what I'm offering, as I'm guided by the inspiration that comes through me. So back to the yin week in business. I think it was maybe 18 months ago, I was doing a reading of a close friend, and it actually came up for her. I don't know whether it was her business or her own energy body, but what came out of the session was the benefit of her having a week off a month, a week off client, of face-to-face, one-to-one client sessions. And that stayed with me. And, in the session, it didn't come through as a yin week as such, but just this idea of having a week a month. And I was very full in my business at the time, let's say. I was working long hours. I was giving a lot. And so when this message came through for her, I also felt it. It felt important for me as well. And I didn't implement anything straight away. I just sat with it. And at the time, it was probably around when I really started to look at the yin aspects of business and the yang aspects of business. And I began to realize that having this time off, this week every month, is a yin time because you're not giving energy out. It's a time for energy to go in. So I was really quite fully booked at the time, and I was unsure how I could incorporate this into my business. So what I did is just look ahead. I looked ahead, it might have been a couple of months, to where I wasn't so booked in my calendar and where I could find a week, a month to block off. I wanted to work it around the moon, and for me, it felt perfect to choose this balsamic phase, the phase leading up to the new moon, or even just sort of around it. Of course, it depends what day of the week the new moon falls as to what I was blocking off. But what I then went and did is go through my calendar for the next 12 months, looked when the new moon was, and then chose the week leading up or sort of incorporating the new moon and just blocked it off. And mostly that's every fourth week. Now and again, it would be a fifth week. And so I did that in advance. So even though it wasn't being implemented for a couple of months, I had it. It was blocked out. No one could book a session in that time. I wouldn't schedule any group calls in that time because it had been blocked out. And as I approached that time, it was a little bit of a juggle at first with clients because it meant it pushed out my waiting list a little bit longer. But interestingly, that recalibrated fairly quickly, and it wasn't an issue at all. It's never been an issue. And like most things, it was like once I set the intention, once I put it in my calendar, well, everything just fell into place around that. And I've got to be honest, I can't imagine not having that in my business anymore. I really look forward to the week of flow, of inward focus, of not having anything scheduled. I love that so much. And when I finish with my final client the week before, although I adore my client sessions, but it's suddenly like, breathe out, and now I have stillness. And it's really an amazing feeling. So what do I use my yin week for? As I said, I don't schedule anything, or minimal. Sometimes I still do my 2 Insight Timer lives on a Tuesday. Sometimes I don't. I just tune into how I feel the week before. Do I feel like giving out a little bit of energy, or do I want to be fully in that week? So no rules. I don't stick to rules. I haven't made a rule around it. I just see how I feel. But other than that, I have nothing scheduled in. Nothing with regards to business. Now and again, I might do something personal in my personal life. And so I can wake up on Monday Now, I do record my podcast Monday, as you know. And if I don't want to do that, I just end up being organized the week before and doing an extra recording. But I still do that on my Monday. So I wake up Monday, okay, I'll record my podcast, I'll play around, I'll put it up. But then from that, the rest of the week is just open with whatever I want to create. It's a creative week. And so I'll usually have in my mind, okay, I would love to get this done in that week. Done. I realize that's a doing word, but I allow the creative space for that project to blossom. Let's put it that way. And so this week, I'm updating my Biz Alchemy Playground page. My playground will be due to open again in March. The invitation period's open for a couple of weeks, and I'm changing the format of the playground a little bit. You just have to wait and find out more about that. But I'm going to sit with that this week. I'm going to feel into the changes that have come to me in the last couple of weeks. How's that going to look? How will I write about that? Will I create a video about that? All of that. But I'm just going to sit with all of that energy and see how it unfolds, see how it blossoms. And I've been organized. I've organized a beautiful lady that does my website for her to have some time next week so that the changes I create this week can be implemented next week. So I've structured that, but this week is not structured at all. So if I have this feeling like, I might do that on Tuesday, and then I wake up Tuesday and go, oh no, I don't feel inspired. I really want to be still. I won't do it. I'll just see how I go on Wednesday, see how I go on Thursday. So it's very flowing, and I really wait. I talk all the time about inspired action. I wait for that energy. So I've planted the seed. I know sort of what I want to talk about, but I don't set the time or the day to do that. I let the energy just present itself. And so this week, my yin week, is a time for me to dream and plan a little bit. Well, plan isn't the right word, but have ideas anyway about possible scenarios in the future. Let's say it that way. I might just find myself playing in the back end of my website, and the next thing you know, I've completely rewritten something. That wasn't planned, but just with the flow of energy, it just takes me to doing these things that otherwise they just would not be on my to-do list for sure, but they are things that need tweaking or need updating, and suddenly it's just like I'm guided into them, and boom, before you know it, it's done. But I also use this week to have a break, to give to myself. So that if I don't feel like doing anything extra in my business, anything creative, I don't. I just hang. I just do what I need. I fill my cup. Like, this is really my week to fill my cup, however that looks. Whether that means I just head to the beach every day, not an option today, let me just be telling you that, or have a massage, or catch up with friends and have a cuppa. Whatever I require to nurture me so that when I move through the new moon period and go back into my usual work week, my cup is full. I am ready to give from a place of fullness. And that's the gift of my yin week, is it fills me up. It fills my cup so that I can give 100% to my clients, to my tribe, my podcast, the Insight Timer, because I am full. And because this is a week of stillness for me and no shoulds at all in terms of there are no appointments, I do have inspiration. It does allow for the flow of energy. So I get some great ideas, and I may not take any action on them, but I'll just pop those down somewhere unless the energy for that idea is really there and I get a strong create this now, in which case I'll go with it. But it really is a time of rejuvenation. And, if you think about the yin energy, that's what it is. It is a stillness. It is a going in. It is the darkness. It's the void from which the light of creation comes through. And if you're operating a business fully in the yang energy, you don't allow for that void. And so you can be missing the voice of your intuition. There's no space to hear it, to hear its guidance. So you're expending all this energy doing all the things and missing this voice that you will hear in the stillness, in the yin time. So I realize, depending on the way your business looks, it may not be possible for you to do what I do, where you're scheduling a whole week out of your calendar. But there are other ways that you can do it. I mean, firstly, as I said before, I did mine a couple of months in advance. I didn't just say starting next week. I looked at my calendar in advance. So you might find you can do it. But if you can't, how else can you do it? Could you maybe just do a day a week? And that day is your yin day. It doesn't have to be around the new moon. Or could you just say, I'm going to take the day before the new moon, and the day after the new moon off? Or you might take an extra long weekend a month. So you might have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and you just say, okay, I'm just going to have that time. Not that I encourage working Saturday, Sunday, but having the Friday and the Monday may be time that you can really gift yourself with to allow a yin space. So make it work for you. But one thing I can promise you is that once you have done it, you can never go back. I cannot imagine working the full month anymore. Actually, another thing to note about that, I found last year, because of doing that, I never felt this strong urge of, I have to get away. I have to have a holiday. Because I was balancing the yin and yang throughout my year. So I wasn't doing yang, 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 so that I collapsed at holiday time. So by the time I did get to the holiday break I had over Christmas, there was no real urgency like, oh, I really need a break. I mean, I embraced it. I loved it. But because of the balanced lifestyle I have between my life and my business created by this yin week, I certainly didn't need it. It was a bonus. So if you're hearing what I'm talking about, you're like, oh my God, yes, I need that. Or you just want to know more about the balancing of the yin and the yang in your business and wanting to embody this more. If you're wanting to know what are the yin elements of the chakras, what are the yin aspects of business, how can business be yin? Well, then you might like to join my Equinox Balance Retreat, which is on the 21st of March, Monday, my time. If you're in North America, it'll be the Sunday evening. In this retreat, we have 2 hours together. Now, the equinox is about balance. It's the balance of yin and yang. So we will use the energies of balance to bring harmony between the yin and yang in your energy body as well as in your business's energy body. So we'll be experiencing meditations to do that, but I'll also be talking about the yin aspects of business to give you an understanding of what that means. This will be 2 hours of yin time for you, where you can go in, receive this beautiful harmonizing activation for your energy body and your business's energy body. And if you can't be live, it's fine, you'll get the replay. So I'd love it if you can join me. It's $11 US for the 2 hours. And it's on at 2 times, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time and 7 p.m. AEDT on Monday the 21st. You can have a look. If you go to the page, I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can just go to my website, jacquelineatkins.com, and you'll see the retreat being promoted there on the homepage. If you go to the page, it tells you what the time zones are for you. But because I'm doing the 2 different times, one time does suit North America and one time does suit Europe. So I do hope you can come and join me at this beautiful retreat. I do love the retreats that we have together at the equinoxes and solstices. So join me on March 21st. And hopefully the energies of that experience will help you gain insight as to how you can bring more yin energy into your business, bring this beautiful, harmonizing, feminine energy to balance the yang sort of energy expenditure that business traditionally is. As I say in my little intro, hustle be gone. And the Equinox Balance Retreat is to help that hustle be gone forever. And believe you me, it works. Until next time, have an alchemical week in your biz. Thanks for listening to Biz Alchemy. I'm Jacqueline Atkins. If you'd love to know more about the energy of business, subscribe to my newsletter at jacquelineatkins.com/newsletter and join me on Insight Timer, where I have a large meditation library and do regular live classes. Until next time, enjoy creating alchemy in your biz.